Right then, I've been looking forward to having a discussion about Tim Steidten, his role at the club, and a lot of people have requested it. And we're going to be taking the comment from Harry. Said in a recent video, Gio said that it feels strange that Steidten is building a squad for a head coach we don't have, and I thought it was bang on. To me, it feels like that's exactly what he's doing because Lopetegui wasn't his choice, and he's going to let Lopetegui fail fast and move on to someone more aligned with his approach. Firstly, do you think this is a healthy approach by our technical director to indirectly throw the head coach under the bus? And secondly, will it actually work? It feels like a power play with no guarantees of success if he doesn't get to choose the next manager. So there you go. That's from Harry.
Harry, yeah, I mean, it's all pretty spot on. I think it's unhealthy, but I think there's a lot of unhealthy stuff going on. I think if we assume, that's all we can do because we do have a limited knowledge of what's going on. But I think if we say that Sullivan picked Lopetegui, and let's suggest for a moment that Kretinsky picked Steidten, I think they're probably, when Steidten was appointed, possibly Sullivan could have been persuaded that he might buy some of the players. Would there have ever been, would he have been contracted that he would choose the manager? I doubt that was ever part of his contract. I'm sure he would have thought that was going to happen. But, Steidten's a man that's already had to see off a battle. So he already saw off David Moyes. So he's certainly someone that can have patience and do something. I do agree that he probably does want to see off Lopetegui. I think that is for sure. I don't think it necessarily means that he gets to choose the next manager, though. And I think that's the concern here. I think the other thing is he runs out because of what happened with Moyes and because there was this falling out, this banning from the changing room and the training ground. I think you can not get on with one person and then you can blame it on the other person. If it then starts to be perceived that actually you're falling out with everyone, then the problem becomes you. And so this is where you've got to be careful if you start heading towards that sort of thing, really. But it is a massive power play. I think he is doing it. I think there's a lot of them doing it at the moment. I think a lot of them have moved their chess pieces. I don't think Lopetegui's moved his chess piece yet. So I think Sullivan has. I think probably Kaczynski's a little bit beyond and too busy to get involved in all that sort of thing. But there will come a point where he probably says, "Oh, hold on a second, what's going on here?" That would not surprise me. He's certainly not got as rich and powerful as he has done in as many sectors by being a shrinking violet and stepping away. He probably delegates, he probably recruits, he probably puts people in place to do certain jobs. If they don't do the job or it looks like there's something needs addressing, I'm pretty sure he'll go in there and he'll go in hard. I'm pretty sure he'll be ruthless. Sullivan as well is going to be ruthless because that's his nature, and I don't think anyone gets that sort of money without being so. I'm not saying it's a dangerous power play from Steidten. I think what Steidten has to be guarded on with any of this, and this is not even to do with West Ham, it's to do with him. If this ends badly at West Ham, his reputation isn't enhanced. He served his apprenticeship, if you like, at Werder Bremen, at Leverkusen. This was his chance to prove himself. So I think quite possibly there's been talk recently about Arsenal coming in and stuff like that. If it doesn't work for him at West Ham, I'm not sure that big club, he wanted Liverpool maybe before, I'm not sure that big club comes in. So, yeah, I guess it is a risky power play from his point of view, particularly if it lessens his allure to bigger clubs and he doesn't actually get to appoint the next manager. That's what it hinges on, isn't it? He can try and force this one out, but if he doesn't get a head coach, manager, whatever, same thing, right? If he doesn't actually get to appoint the next one and it still gets to next season, it's not his appointment and he's still buying about half the players, then you would suggest it hasn't worked.
There's a lot of like subtopics under Tim Steidten at the minute, isn't there? In regards to his reputation, I wouldn't say it's been enhanced, but I think it remains intact to some extent because of the failures of Lopetegui thus far. I think everybody agrees that Lopetegui isn't doing good enough with the players he's got. And I think that almost protects Tim Steidten's reputation. He said, well, hang on a minute, I did my job. Gaffer wanted this player, that player, and that player. I went and got them. I didn't want them, but I backed my head coach. I went and got him his main transfer target in Kilman. Forget what you think of these players, by the way. Just Lopetegui's main target Tim Steidten went and got him. That's a tick for him. You could argue that Somerville coming in was a tick, that his boss said, look, I really like this guy, go get him. Tim Steidten went, no problem, boss. And he went and got him. Out under the noses of other people. It was almost secret squirrel, that transfer. It was done very, very quickly. It wasn't. It was done over a long period of time. Nobody knew about it. For Tim Steidten, that's a huge tick that he was able to keep that transfer of Somerville under wraps and go get the guy that his boss wanted. And then you look at Todibo. Juve were in. Tim Steidten managed to convince him, sack off Juventus, come to West Ham.
Do what to Juventus?
Sack off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, beg your pardon.
Sack off Juve, come to West Ham. For the guy in charge of negotiations, that's a big tick. He goes back to last summer. He says, I rocked up at West Ham. They were looking at Edson Alvarez and Mohamed Kudus. Hadn't really made much progress. I rocked up, went over to the Netherlands, got the deals done. Tick, tick. I think Steidten's reputation, like I said, maybe not enhanced, but I don't think it's been damaged, actually. I do not think it's been damaged, because he would argue that we as West Ham fans may argue differently. But all you have to do is listen to what the neutrals have been saying. West Ham won the transfer window. That's the perception of what he did this summer. That's a victory as far as he's concerned. What happens on the pitch has got nothing to do with him. That's Lopetegui's fault. So I actually think Tim's coming out of this all right, actually, in regards to would you get a new job after West Ham? I think the answer would be yes. The South Americans were impressed. We went and got Guilherme. Again, we might not know anything about him. That doesn't matter. Those that do know Guilherme said, bloody hell, West Ham have got a good player here. They know what they're doing. Whoever spotted this guy, well done to him. I think Steidten came out that window looking all right, actually. You had I can't remember who it was. Was it Vickery himself? I don't know. There was a Spanish journalist singing the praises of him for getting Rodriguez. Said, "Oh, this guy's like Busquets. He's ready to Barcelona. He's that bloody good. This guy's fantastic for West Ham." I think his reputation's all right, regardless of what West Ham do. In regards to the power play, I don't think it is necessarily a power play. I don't think he's necessarily trying to throw Lopetegui under the bus. I think it's more of an ego play, which is I know best. I am the man in charge, and I know more than you about players. I know more about you at identifying players. And whilst the success of Leverkusen bubbled away, Tim Steidten probably sat there thinking, "Oh, I was a big part of that. Look how good I was. Right? I've come over here and look at it all." My opinion on Tim has not changed from day one, really. The only thing that has changed is he's better at negotiations than I thought he would be. I think he's a really good negotiator. I think he's good at identifying talent. But in regards to building a squad, there was no evidence of it before West Ham, and there remains little evidence of it at West Ham in terms of the components he's put together for the head coach. I refuse to give him too much credit for the Leverkusen thing. Took a little bit of stick for it, but stick by it. However, one thing Leverkusen did do pre-Xabi Alonso, they were ruthless with their managers. They went through quite a few. There was a lot of frogs before they got their prince, Xabi Alonso. It wasn't like they woke up one day, hired him, and everything was perfect. They went through. They made mistakes with the managerial appointment before they got to Xabi Alonso. And I don't know if maybe Steidten's, because of his master, which was Simon Rolfes, is thinking, we need to just cut this guy, get him gone now. It's not worked. Get him gone, get the new one in, because he's seen it work at Leverkusen. I don't know if that's maybe part of the problem here, where he's now coming up against a chairman who can be quite patient and loyal. That's not two words I would say Simon Rolfes has in his locker at Leverkusen. I think he's maybe the opposite. I think he can be a little bit more cold and ruthless. Not necessarily a bad thing. Whereas now Steidten's got a different type of boss, which is someone that says, no, we're gonna give him time. And I think this is maybe where he's gonna have a problem, to be honest with you. It's a strange one. The problem with compromise is nobody gets what they want. And I think there's a huge element of that at West Ham this summer. Lopetegui's not really got what he's wanted. Tim Steidten hasn't really got what he's wanted. And David Sullivan hasn't really got what he's wanted. No, so nobody's really winning here.
No, it's a death by committee, isn't it, really, in that sense? And it's a terrible time, and really the club could have done with some really cohesive, or do you know what? Never mind cohesive strategy. You almost want the benevolent dictator, but a good one. Do you know what I mean? One with a real vision and sort of clarity of purpose, who can put something together and drive it forward. And more importantly, a modern version of it. A trial by committee is one thing, but but doing it when you are. And I keep thinking it, and I have thought it for years, that we're always behind. It's always goes back further. I'm sure if you looked at Birmingham City or what they were doing there, this inclination to go and get yesterday's man as the manager, and it doesn't really matter whether it's the smart man is the man that gets Sam Allardyce before he goes to Bolton or something like that. I'm not going to suggest that Sam Allardyce was an ineffective manager. He wasn't. He had a career where he sort of utilised the best of his abilities. He really did. You get Benitez after Valencia. That's what you do. You don't then see him thrive at Valencia, he did thrive at Liverpool, then sort of do okay and do some firefighting jobs at Chelsea and whatnot, do a load of stuff like that, and then become a journeyman and think, oh, we'll go and get him. And it's like the Mourinho thing at the moment as well, Gio. It's the people that want Mourinho, I just don't for any number of reasons, which is a separate video in itself, but he really is yesterday's man, and you've only got to look at these people. Look what's going on at Brighton at the moment. The game's moving on, and it's moving on really, really quickly. And I think whether it's Tim Steidten or anyone else, somebody has to have that clarity of purpose and been allowed to do it. I think, just going back to what you said as well, he is distancing himself from a sinking ship with Lopetegui. He is just making it clear that's not my guy. And I think obviously that's how he's trying to ring fence his reputation on that. That's not my guy. The one thing I think might not do so well for him is if somebody does want to hire him and they think, well, hold on a second, what if you don't like our coach that we have here, or someone that maybe we want to bring in? He would. I think Steidten needs to be all powerful. If that's the case, he needs to appoint a coach and all the players, and then we see how he goes. But he'll never get that at West Ham.
We'll answer Harry's second question. Will it be successful? Before I do, just one point in the direction of Patreon. Harry's question came over on Patreon. It's the best way to support us here on Hammers Chat. You can do it for less than £1 a week. Basically, if I said to you every Monday, could we have 90 pence from you to help us do videos on both channels every single day? The answer was yes. Then please do consider heading over to Patreon. The link's in the description below, or you can go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. We've got free trials over there. December is going to be chock about. Basically, the more games, the more content on Patreon, because we do player ratings, breakfast shows, opposition previews. We've got a lot of content based on it, a lot of content that's not. So we've got Nick and Northie's podcast, Bab and Irons, we've got Naked. We've got a lot of stuff that doesn't rely on matches, but more games, more content. There's a lot more games in December. We've got 6 games in December, so it's going to be huge amount of, you're not going to have enough time to watch it all. Basically, there's going to be too much. We've also got prediction games, discount off our online store, which is handy at this time of the year, with it being Christmas. And also we're going to be one of the only places to be selling Jimmy Walker's upcoming autobiography. Not only do we sell these autobiographies, they're signed. Julian Dick's autobiography, signed. Tony Gale's signed, Bill Garner's signed, Cass Pennant's signed. So when we get these books, we try to get them signed. Tony Carr's signed. Jimmy Walker's autobiography is coming out on the 22nd of November. We will be doing pre-orders tonight or tomorrow. Gonzo didn't even know this is happening. I've been speaking to Jimmy today to get it all set up. They'll all be signed by Jimmy as well. I'll be going to meet him at the end of November to pick up all the books from him.
We're not signing them.
We're not. Jimmy's signing them. So if you want an autobiography, go to Patreon, then get an autobiography. The money you'll save on the book will pay for your Patreon membership. Plus, that gives you the month's free. But honestly, go check out patreon.com/Hamchat. Got 2 trials over there as well, so you can give it a go for a week and then decide if you like it or not. Gonzo, Harry said, can this be successful? Now, I'm going to alter it a little bit, because he's obviously basing it on the fact that he believes there's a power play here by Tim Steidten. I guess if you think there's a power play, then you can answer that one. But I don't think there is, so I can't really. But I will answer a slightly different variation of that question.
Well, it depends on what success is for Steidten. if success for Steidten is that he gets to move and he gets a bigger job than West Ham, then fair enough. I don't think Steidten will be here next season. In fact, I'm pretty certain of it. I'd put money on it. £5. That's big money for me, by the way. A £5's a big. Well, I bet about 30 pence when I do a bet. £5's big.
Well, there's
money.
a few of our subscribers I'd avoid taking that bet with because they don't pay up.
there's one particular one, isn't there?
There's a few. There's six bets now I've won with subscribers. None of them are paid up.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I would have a cheeky five. By the way, I can't have a cheeky five with all of you that are watching this because that would make me really skint if I was wrong. I'd be rich if I was right. But no, I don't think it'd be a Nick. I don't think it. I'm not entirely sure we will look back on this as being a particularly good period for West Ham. And I'm not saying Steidten's necessarily to blame here, by the way. I'm not saying that. I just look, it's so fractious behind the scenes. I just can't see him staying. And that could be because because things have not gone well for him, or someone else comes and takes him away. Long five-year plan at West Ham, forget it. I don't think we're going to see it with Steidten.
Can it be? Yes, but it requires Sullivan backing off. I think it requires Sullivan backing off a lot, handing over the appointment of the head coach, not recommending. I mean, you can recommend away, but don't make him go buy a certain player. No, I like the signing of Somerville, but listen, I ain't giving David Sullivan credit for spotting the Championship Player of the Season winner, right? Okay, there's no diamond in the rough here. He's he basically said the best player in Championship. Can we have him, please? That
Bill
scouting.
Foden looks like a good young player, doesn't he?
That's not scouting. That's Googling and watching the Championship football on a Friday evening to discover which one that player is. But I go back to the comment I made in the previous video that Harry picked up. Steidten is building a squad for a head coach we do not have. I think that remains true. And this is the problem when your club has not got an identity. Lopetegui doesn't really have an identity. So how on earth can you hire a head coach when you don't know how he's going to play? How can you build a squad for the head coach when you don't know how he's going to play? You go get, let's just say, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, to use two huge examples here. Steidten would know exactly which players to go get for those managers, but I know exactly what you require of your centre-backs, your right-back, your central midfielder, your wing. I know exactly what you want. Let me go get them for you. With Lopetegui, it wasn't really, he doesn't come with an identity. So Tim Steidten had to go shopping in the summer without a shopping list. Basically, someone turned up and said, I want to make a cake. What ingredients do you need? I don't know. Go get the ingredients. So Steidten's had to pop to the shop and go, well, he's going to need a bit of flour and eggs, but is it a chocolate cake? I don't know. I won't get him chocolate then. I'll get vanilla extract. Steidten's had to go shopping for ingredients for a recipe with no ingredients list. And then basically, Lopetegui, the cook, has come along and gone, hang on a minute, don't have all my ingredients here. And sorry, I did my best, but I didn't know what you wanted, mate. What I can do. And also that large goose eggs I got is because Sullivan told me to get those ones. So you've got them to deal with as well. Might not be the ones you want, but the guy with the money
an egg, right? Yeah.
The guy with the money told me I had to get those ones specifically, regardless of whether it's what you want or not. And I feel like this summer there was too much compromise. There was failure from Sullivan, then there was interference from Sullivan. I think there was too much compromise from Steidten. You want to pick the head coach, pick him, and if you don't, walk off. Just leave your job or something. I'll tell you what you do not do. You do not go on TNT Sports willingly before the Chelsea game. Go, oh, yeah, Lopetegui, yeah. Delighted to get him in. You don't do that. You do not put your name to the appointment. Say... If you want to keep your job and you don't like the appointment, shut up. Say nothing. What you do not do, though, is associate yourself with the appointment. As soon as you do that, you become culpable as well. It might not be your choice, but what you are doing is becoming a yes man. That's what you're doing. And that's something you cannot do. If your neck is on the chopping block, what you can't do is become a yes man. And for all these critics, and while Moyes may have been a yes man to some extent, when it came to transfers, that's something he never back down on Moyes. No, I'm in charge here. This can't work. And I think Tim Steidten needs to have a bit of spine about him in that and say, look, either I pick that guy or this ain't working and I'm off ski. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Can it be successful? Yes. Will it be? No, because of David Sullivan. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm excited to get to Lidl and get a big goose egg and some vanilla extract and make up my own recipe.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Please do drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it by clicking thumbs up and subscribing to Hammers Chat. Get involved in the comments. Be interested to know your thoughts on this topic in particular. And if you fancy supporting the channel, grabbing some discount, entering prediction competitions, and loads more content, go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below and the pinned comments of the comment section as well. So go into the comment section, Hammers Chat. There it is. Links there. Click it. Click it. Go have a look. We'll see you over there.